Historians revealed the shocking truth behind Jesus' real name. You won't believe what it means. Few knew what truly happened that night, under the cloak of darkness in Nazareth. The air was thick with tension, and the quiet streets held their breath. A name, just a name, could hold the key to a world of mysteries. What if Jesus, the figure worshipped by millions, had a name that revealed hidden truths about his destiny? In that small town, whispers danced among the shadows. Was he more than a carpenter's son? What did that name imply, buried deep within the ancient texts? It was around 4 BC, in a place where destiny met obscurity. The skies hung low, pregnant with anticipation. Those who believed were drawn to him like moths to a flame. But the townsfolk? They cast doubtful glances, because some things are too extraordinary for everyday folk to comprehend. Unexplained miracles haunted the very streets he walked. Some said he healed the sick with a mere touch. Others claimed he spoke of God, his voice echoing with a power that left many breathless. What lay behind this unassuming figure? Could it truly be that his birth name contained a hidden power, a coded message woven into the fabric of prophecy? The contradictions grew. He was a king born in a stable. A savior who shared the company of fishermen and tax collectors. Caught between skepticism and belief, the community was torn. They could sense a force emanating from Jesus, but doubts, oh, the doubts, would slither like snakes in their minds. They wondered if he was truly what he claimed, or a mere story, delicately wrapped in the embellishments of those who followed him. And there, in the midst of the curious crowd, murmurs rose. Did you hear? The name Yeshua means God saves. Entwined with hope and despair, they faced the chilling question: would they dare to believe, or walk away from the undeniable spark igniting their souls? Just then, a thunderous silence befell the crowd. They gazed at him, their hearts racing, breath caught in throats. Would they discover the profound truth behind Yeshua's name? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Yet as the crowd held its breath, Jesus stepped forward, his eyes piercing through the shroud of uncertainty. He seemed to sense the turmoil within their hearts, the struggle between belief and disbelief. His presence was magnetic, yet utterly unassuming, like the soft rays of dawn breaking through a heavy fog. "Why do you doubt?" he asked, his voice calm, yet resonating with an authority that transcended his humble surroundings. The question hung in the air, settling upon each listener like dew in the early morning. Their gazes fell to the ground, shifting uneasily, as if they were choosing between blind faith and the desire for tangible proof. In that quiet moment, began to emerge layers of his essence. Some among them recognized a man who was not merely a carpenter's son but a teacher, a healer, perhaps even a prophet. Yet, the very name he carried seemed to suggest a destiny bound closer to heaven than to the earth. Yeshua. God saves. Was it merely a name, or did it encapsulate a divine promise that resonated through eternity? Jesus continued, revealing parables that danced between love and sacrifice. It was as though he spoke not only to their ears but to the very marrow of their bones. What good is a lamp that remains hidden under a basket? He urged, weaving imagery imbued with light and truth. Should not the city on a hill shine brightly, guiding those who wander in darkness? Whispers peeled back layers of apprehension. The name Yeshua was a call to action, a summons for those mired in hesitation to embrace a path illuminated by faith. Yet, the fickle nature of human hearts was not lost on him. It was one thing to speak of belief, another to live it. Thus they remained divided, caught in a moral dilemma that questioned their very identities. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting shadows that seemed to stretch infinitely, children, unnoticed until now, gathered around Jesus. Their eyes sparkled with innocence, free from the chains of doubt that bound the adults. In their laughter, he saw unblemished belief. By sharing a smile or a gentle touch, he revealed hints of the love that would one day fracture the very hearts of those who chose to serve him. In the fading light, he turned to face the crowd one last time. "The truth lies not just in the name but in what you dare to believe," he said, echoing a challenge. Each word lingered amidst the twilight air, a reminder that within the name Yeshua was contained not just the promise of salvation, but a call for each person to seek the truth for themselves, even when wrapped in enigma. As the last rays of sun disappeared, leaving a blue twilight, many still held skeptical hearts, while others felt a flicker of something deeper ignited within. And so a question resonated, in the silence that followed: could the name Yeshua be the key not only to their salvation but also a path to uncovering their own struggles with faith? What truth woven into that name remained yet to be revealed? As the twilight deepened around them, the weight of Jesus' words lingered, pressing against the hearts of those gathered. Each person's soul was a conduit of potential, waiting to be ignited by the message they had just received. Yet, doubt still clung to the fringes of their minds like mist in the early morning hours, obscuring understanding and possibility. In the quiet moments that ensued, Martha, known for her practical nature, began to ponder the implications of Jesus' call. She reflected on her own life, how often she had rushed through each task, burdened by the demands of family and society. But now she wondered, had she disregarded the call to look deeper within? Was her faith like the lamp hidden under the basket, dimmed by her busyness? Just then, a man from the edge of the crowd, Simon, raised his hand tentatively, his voice quivering with apprehension. "But who are we to follow you? We are but fishermen, sinners of all sorts. What can we offer that is worthy of your calling?" His challenge punctured the reverence of the moment, but it was a question born from sincerity, resonating with those in similar doubt. Jesus turned his gaze toward Simon, his eyes glimmering with a warmth that seemed to draw the man closer. "Ah, Simon, it is not the worthiness of your hands, nor your past, that I seek. It is the openness of your heart. Each of you carries wounds and burdens, but within you lies the potential for rebirth." His words washed over the crowd like waves, reminding them that their humanity with all its imperfections did not hinder the divine. There was power in the wrestling with faith, an exploration of what it meant to believe amidst uncertainty. Mary, a woman with a past shrouded in whispers, felt an awakening. Reflecting on her own journey, she asked herself whether she could truly embrace the name Yeshua without fear of judgment or condemnation. As she struggled, she felt a flicker of hope. What if the very essence of Yeshua was an invitation to redefine her life's narrative? Jesus perceived the undertone of her pain and spoke directly to her heart. "Your past does not define your future, dear one. Know that in the covenant of love, even the lost can find their way home." With that declaration, a palpable shift occurred in Mary. She felt the shackles of her past begin to loosen as the realization dawned: perhaps, the act of believing was a journey worth embarking upon, regardless of where one began. As darkness safely enveloped the forest, it seemed as if the stars themselves held their breath, waiting for the next spark of understanding among the people. Some began to share their stories, their doubts melting away in the warmth of community as they clutched at the fragments of faith they held within. Yet, despite the growing light of hope, an edge of fear loomed in the background. Could they truly follow Yeshua, trusting in the unseen, when the trials of life loomed large and the path ahead remained unclear? Each person felt the weight of their choices pressing upon their shoulders, alive with the tension of yearning for belief and the doubt that spoke of their limitations. "What if," a voice rumbled from the crowd, "this call we hear is but a fleeting moment, a spark that will fade as quickly as it comes? How can we commit to such a paradox of faith when the world seems so chaotic and uncertain?" This question hung heavily in the air, a line in the sand separating hope from despair. It was a query that many were too afraid to voice, but it echoed the silent wrestling within. Jesus, sensing the stirrings of their hearts, remained poised, inviting them closer, inviting them into the deeper mysteries of faith. As the night wore on, with only the flickering flames to illuminate their surroundings, a reflective silence spread through the crowd. Each person remained caught in a web of introspection, illuminated by the possibilities ahead. What might emerge from the interplay of their pain and their yearning for faith? What truths lay dormant, waiting for the call of Yeshua to spark them into life? Would they dare to embrace the journey, whatever it may hold? As the crisp air swept through the gathering, imbued with the scent of night-blooming flowers and the distant calls of nocturnal creatures, a hush fell again, deeper this time. Inspired by the unfolding moments, John, a young fisherman, raised his voice timidly. "Lord, what if we are blind to the truth? What if our understanding is but a shadow, and the light you bring is beyond our comprehension?" His words, laced with both reverence and uncertainty, rippled through the crowd, stirring those who were seeking clarity amidst their doubts. Jesus looked upon John with kindness, seeing the fire of curiosity burning within him. It is in the struggle to see, my young friend, that enlightenment begins. The blind spots of the heart often serve as the canvas upon which the divine artistry can be painted. Mary, emboldened by Jesus' previous encouragement, weighed heavily on the metaphor, her mind wrestling with the truth of what it meant to be blind and, simultaneously, seeking the light. What faith truly meant eluded her, like a gentle breeze that slipped through her fingers. As she lifted her eyes to the stars woven into the heavens above, each one flickered like a reminder of a hope yet fulfilled. "Master," she ventured, her voice barely above a whisper, "if we are to follow you, how do we navigate these shadows? How do we know when we are truly seeing, when the very act of belief feels like stepping into the darkness?" "I tell you this, dear one," Jesus replied, the gentle warmth of his tone enveloping her, "the true sight begins within, ignited by intention. Seek not only with your eyes, but with your heart, for true understanding transcends the tangible." He paused, letting his wisdom rest upon the stillness around them. "Fear not the darkness, for it is within the night that the stars are born." Simon furrowed his brow as he pondered the words, sensing the weight of the moment. But what if the faith we seek is just a delusion, a false light leading us astray? Many have claimed to speak the truth, yet how can we discern genuine light from mere flickers that fade away? Jesus met Simon's gaze, and in that exchange, there lay a profound vulnerability. "The path of faith is not free from doubt, Simon. It requires courage to confront the questions that haunt you." He gestured to the assembled crowd, their diverse faces reflecting myriad stories. Each person herein holds a part of the truth, a collective tapestry woven from love, pain, joy, and longing. Martha, absorbing Jesus' message, glanced around, recognizing the beauty in their shared vulnerability. She turned back to Jesus and exclaimed, "So our stories, our fears, and our strengths are the threads of this tapestry. If our faith relies on our willingness to share with one another, then perhaps the call to follow you is to also embrace each other, no matter our past." "Indeed, Martha," Jesus confirmed, his expression brightening with warmth. "To follow me is not to walk alone but to walk together. Faith can only thrive in the fellowship of the weary and the hopeful. It is in the answers we seek that we must also hold each other's hands, thereby illuminating the path ahead." As her heart filled with the warmth of his affirmation, Mary hesitated yet again, grappling with her inner turmoil. But can we trust that this journey we embark on will not lead us into greater darkness? What if the struggle deepens our pain instead of healing it? Her question lingered, heavy and profound, as the surrounding air seemed to still in contemplation. Yeshua's eyes glistened like stars, full of compassion. "Darkness will come as it does for all, but fear not, for it is in struggle that strength is forged. Where pain exists, healing can grow from the soil of adversity. Trust, my dear friends, is a small yet powerful seed that, once planted, can change the very landscape of your souls." As the night unspooled before them like an ancient scroll, each person took a breath steeped in possibility. Their hearts swayed between hope and fear, embedded within a tapestry rich with narratives, each thread ready for the loom of faith to intertwine them in a new story. Yet in the quiet of their reflections, a restless question tugged at the recesses of their minds. If they dared to embrace each other, daring to share their doubts and illuminate one another's shadows, what would they uncover about their own hearts and the call beckoning them forward? As the shadows of the night deepened, the gathering found themselves enveloped in a contemplative silence, each heart wrestling with newfound insights. The air, palpably thick with dreams and unspoken questions, took on a weighty significance. They gathered closer, eyes glistening under the celestial light, as if the heavens themselves beckoned them to listen. John, stirred by the conversation, contemplated how they might find clarity beneath the layers of their confusion. What if our understanding of your name and your teachings extends beyond mere sounds? Might it offer something more profound than we fathom? Jesus looked down at the young fisherman, recognizing the flicker of wisdom igniting in his spirit. Names hold power, my son. They carry echoes of the soul, a resonance often lost in the cacophony of tongues. My name, like the names you bear, is both a gift and a responsibility that calls forth who you are destined to be. The murmurs of the crowd grew, each person resonating with the idea of identity shrouded in language and legacy. Mary felt her insides twist with curiosity as she asked, "And what of the names we carry? Are they merely labels, or do they reflect our journey and purpose in this world?" "It is true," Jesus replied, taking a moment to glance into the distance, "that names can reflect the journey, but they are amplified by the love you cultivate. When the essence of your name, your essence aligns with your actions and intentions, it becomes a beacon, illuminating your path and those around you." Simon, ever the pragmatist, considered this deeply. So, if names hold such weight, how do we navigate through the confusion we face? How do we find our true selves amidst the influences that shape us? Do not shy away from your influences, Jesus encouraged gently. They are part of your story, woven into the fabric of your existence. However, seek with discernment, ponder who you wish to become. The journey towards understanding is marked by the courage to ask questions and to reevaluate the names you claim. As those words settled over the crowd, the sound of a gentle breeze rustled through the trees, a palpable reminder of change. Martha felt a tremor of recognition surging within her. And if we begin to seek our true selves, can we also unlock the names of those around us? Might we help each other unveil the true essence we each carry? "Yes," replied Jesus, a serene smile gracing his lips. "Together, you can redefine the meanings tied to your names. In listening to one another's stories, you transform fear into love, shattering the illusions that bind you. Each name reflects a story yearning to be told and embraced." A flicker of trepidation crossed Mary's face as she mused, but what if, in facing these truths, we uncover parts of ourselves that we fear, shadows that we wish to remain hidden? What if unearthing our true names leads us from one darkness to another? An almost imperceptible hush fell across the gathering as the weight of her words settled in. Jesus, understanding the gravity of such reflections, responded with profound tenderness. "Fear not what you may find. Each discovery, however daunting, bears the potential for renewal. For in vulnerability lies the strength to transform shadows into light." As the night pulsated with the heartbeat of their collective exploration, an exquisite stillness enveloped them. All were left pondering the layers of truth hidden within their individual histories, the names they wore like cloaks, and the roles they played on this shared stage of life. In this collective moment of introspection, a singular question lingered ominously in the air: if the act of revealing their true names and stories held the potential for profound transformation, what depths of understanding awaited them, and would they dare to embrace the journey together? The night continued to weave its tapestry of contemplation, the stars twinkling as if holding their breath, anticipating the unfolding of deeper truths. Jesus, perceiving the yearning in the hearts gathered around him, sensed a pivotal moment on the horizon. He knew that in the quest for understanding names for identity, the very foundations of faith and trust would be tested. As a hush fell once more, he spoke, "In this sacred gathering, you each carry stories unspoken. Perhaps they dwell beneath the surface like hidden springs, yearning to nourish the land around you. But remember, the quest for your true names is not solely a personal endeavor, it is also a communal journey, where the bonds of love and togetherness act as gossamer threads, weaving you into a tapestry of divine purpose." Thomas, known for his skeptical nature, felt both curious and hesitant. But how can we find unity in such diversity of names and stories? How do we bridge the divides that our differences create? With thoughtful patience, Jesus replied, "It is through listening and sharing that you will discover the common threads binding your stories together." Each name carries not just burdens but also gifts, each story holds the potential for mutual understanding. As you embark on this journey, remember that vulnerability fosters connection, and connection breeds unity. Martha engaged the thought, her heart pondering the collective strength they could harness. So, as we unveil our layers, could we also illuminate the shadows of others? Can we help them to see the beauty in their names, even when they fear the shadows lurking there? Yes, Jesus said softly, his eyes sparkling with a profound understanding of human complexity. Therein lies the essence of love, it transforms fear into compassion. When you embrace the stories of others, you invite healing into your community, and in the light of shared truths, shadows begin to dissipate, he urged, as dawn's first light began to dance on the horizon. Yet amidst their tender exchange, Simon raised a concern that lingered in the air, heavy with uncertainty. But what if these shadows reveal things we cannot accept? What if the truths we uncover disrupt the harmony we seek? Jesus looked at him, love radiating from his piercing gaze. The process of revealing and embracing truth can seem daunting, yet, my friends, remember this, transformations often come dressed as trials. To grow, you must be willing to face what you fear. Together, allow honesty and love to guide you through, for the beauty of your collective struggle will nurture growth far beyond what your individual journeys could achieve. The group took a moment to absorb the weight of his words, wrestling internally with their fears and desires alike. Would they dare to confront the untold stories that lay within? Could they unlock the potential they each possessed by shedding the protective layers they clung to? As the first rays of sunlight broke through the trees, illuminating the gathering in a golden hue, the promise of renewal lingered in the air. The collective heartbeat of the group echoed as an unspoken agreement began to form. With each gaze lifted to lock with another, they realized they were standing at the precipice of a great reckoning. In this renewed silence filled only with the rustle of leaves in a gentle wind, an invitation arose, draped in mystery, in seeking their true selves and revealing their hidden stories. What tangled truths might they uncover that could redefine not only their identities but also the horizons of their love and faith? Would they have the courage to brave the darkness together, toward the light of a transformed existence? As the dawn unfolded its golden tapestry across the skies, the warmth brushed against the faces of those gathered. An intangible energy coursed among them, awakening a deep longing that resonated from one heart to another. Jesus stood at the center, the embodiment of hope, the facilitator of their journey into the depths of themselves. "Do you feel it?" he asked, breaking the silence, his voice a gentle current guiding them ever deeper. This call to self-discovery, to unveil the might of your true identities. Matthew, ever the scribe, felt compelled to question, "But, Lord, how do we honor what we uncover without becoming overwhelmed? If our pasts are woven with grief and shame, how can we move forward without dragging these burdens along?" His hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the weight of his inquiry. Jesus thought for a moment, gazing upward where the first birds began their morning songs. Think of the caterpillar that must enter the chrysalis, the dark enclosure where it contemplates its existence, only to emerge in revelatory splendor. There exists a sacred irony, my friend. The act of revealing is also an act of releasing. The group pondered this deeply, a shared understanding twinkling in their eyes. It led to reverence for the process of both individual and communal healing. Yet, Mary, whose heart bore the marks of many trials, felt a stir within. But what if we falter? What if we face the truth and find ourselves confined by our fears rather than freed by our stories? Jesus, with a knowing smile, walked closer to the pebbled ground, kneeling momentarily to pick a small flower that had bravely bloomed amidst the stones. New life often thrives in the unlikeliest of places. Do you see how its resilience brings beauty and purpose, defying the harshness around it? Fear will always exist, yet it need not define you. Allow your collective stories to intertwine, creating a garden where hope can flourish. As he spoke, the flowers seemed to glimmer, bathed in the first light of day, drawing their gaze away from their apprehensions towards the promise of renewal. The offering of vulnerability lay before them like the delicate petals, a reminder of the beauty that can bloom from acknowledging one's struggles. Simon weighed his words, wrestling with the echoes of doubt in his heart. What if we succeed in unveiling our truths yet discover we are not as strong as we believed? What if the shared burdens become heavier rather than lighter? Strength, Jesus replied, his voice soothing the winds of uncertainty, is not measured by the absence of fear but by the courage to face it together. Love is the soil in which strength grows. When shared, troubles do not decrease but are rooted in understanding, that all who carry them may walk together towards healing. Their gazes lingered on Jesus, searching his eyes for clarity amidst the complexity. The day's light brightened with revelation, a question hung in the air, fragile yet potent. Could they trust the process of growth through their shared vulnerabilities? With hearts laid open like the morning sky, would they risk their fears for the sake of love and unity? As the sun began its ascent, bathing all in a resplendent glow, another question emerged among them: could the very act of embracing their stories create something sacred and unbreakable, a deeper promise of community bound not by perfection but by the understanding that brokenness, too, is part of the whole? What truths were yet to be revealed, and how would these shape a new narrative of belonging? As the sun rose higher, its warmth enveloping the gathered souls, Jesus turned to his companions with a gaze full of compassion. "I sense you grapple with many questions," he said gently. "But fear not. Each inquiry you carry is a step toward deepening your understanding of self and of one another." At that moment, the winds shifted softly, carrying the scent of blooming flowers and the murmur of distant waters. There was an ancient wisdom in nature, a reminder that life, too, is cyclical. It is easy to forget, he continued, that even the greatest of trees began as mere seeds, hidden in darkness before breaking through to the light. Peter felt the stirring of this truth within him. "Lord, if we are all like seeds yearning to break free, how do we nurture one another in this journey? How shall we tend the soil of each other's hearts?" "By listening," Jesus replied, his voice resonating like a gentle bell. "In listening, you create space for the stories that yearn to be told. Every tale holds the essence of its teller's truth. It is your duty to honor that sacredness. Just as two trees rooted side by side intertwine their branches to strengthen one another, so too can your lives intertwine through empathy and support." But Judas, who bore an inner tumult, clenched his fists and challenged, "And what if, in hearing our stories, we find division instead of unity? What if the truth reveals our differences rather than drawing us together? How can we trust that this path will not lead us towards conflict?" "Division is indeed a possibility, but so is connection," Jesus advised, pacing slowly as he pondered. "Hearts cloaked in loneliness can feel heavy burdens, yet when made visible before others, those very weights may transform into shared experiences. Have you not witnessed how the smallest threads can weave the richest tapestries? Embrace the discord if it arises, for within it lies the seed of understanding." Their hearts were beginning to resonate with the hope embedded in Jesus' words. Yet, Mary again raised her voice, "But Lord, if conflict arises, what then? How do we mend the fractures of our spirits that such revelations could create?" "You will bring the healing," Jesus said solemnly. "Mending begins with humility and acknowledgement of your limitations and an acceptance of each other's flawed humanness. In love, seek not to prove yourselves right, but to understand. In this endeavor, you will hold the essence of grace against the backdrop of hardship." The group reflected on this, the air thick with the weight of unvoiced doubts. As the sun began to illuminate their faces, casting shadows that danced upon the ground, the questions echoed within them. What if their stories, instead of separating them, became the very threads that could bind them in a profound tapestry of shared experiences? Could it be that their perceived cracks would allow light to shine through, creating a beauty that speaks to resilience? Each heart remained a silent garden, ripe with longing for faith in the path they were to take. Would they find the strength to face conflict, should it arise, armed with love and grace? Could they trust that vulnerability would transform into a robust foundation, woven together not by perfection but by the courageous act of embracing their true selves? The sun soared higher, and as it cast its light upon them, a new question lingered: what miraculous connections awaited through their shared becoming, and what revelations lay dormant, waiting to be nurtured into bloom. As the sun hung high, casting a golden hue upon the gathering, Jesus surveyed the faces of those around him. The weight of their unspoken concerns hung in the air like the scent of freshly turned earth. He understood their fears and hopes were intertwined, like roots beneath the surface, hidden yet vital for the strength of their bond. To steer their thoughts, Jesus gestured toward the mountains in the distance, their peaks adorned with the soft embrace of clouds. Observe the mountains, how they stand firm against the storm. They do not crumble, for they are anchored by a solid foundation. In the same way, we must ground ourselves in love and wisdom, confronting the challenges life brings with steadfast hearts. Thomas, ever the skeptic, furrowed his brow. But Master, storms come and go, and can change the landscape forever. What if our foundation is not as secure as we believe? How can we be certain that in sharing our truths, we will not be swept away by the torrents of our own fears? Jesus approached Thomas, his eyes reflecting the depths of understanding. The tempest is a teacher, dear Thomas. Embrace it, for it strips away pretense and reveals the core of who you are. Just as the earth reveals its strength when it is tested, so too will you discover the resilience that lies within. Mary, still caught in thought, asked softly, and if amidst the storm we find ourselves lost, how do we navigate through the chaos? Is there a map to guide us? The simplicity of the question brought a smile to Jesus' lips. Your map is drawn by the footsteps of those who walked alongside you. Together, you will find the way. Each of you carries pieces of truth, and together you will form a compass that will guide you through uncertainty. As the group turned toward each other, a sense of shared purpose emerged. James spoke up, so, it is in our vulnerability that we find strength. This connection, it leads us on a path toward restoration, even amidst our struggles. Yes, Jesus affirmed, gesturing toward the vibrant green shoots pushing through the soil. Just as the seed must break to give life, your hearts will thrive when you yield what is within. Do not shy away from discomfort, instead, lean into it. Every struggle can yield fruit, if tended with care. Judas, still wrestling with his thoughts, interjected again, yet, what if the storms we confront do not end with a rainbow? What if they expose deeper rifts? How do we heal those wounds if they are too great? Consider the potter and the clay, Jesus replied, his voice gentle yet firm. There is beauty in the breaking, and the hands that shape the clay must apply pressure to mold it. In your trials, you must find the humility to reshape your understanding, recognizing that a scar is not the end, it is a testament to survival. These words lingered in the air, echoing in the hearts of those listening, igniting a flicker of hope among them. They contemplated the complicated dance of healing through shared pain and vulnerability. Was the potential for unity nestled within their fractures? As the sun began to dip lower on the horizon, casting a warm glow across the land, a reflective silence enveloped the group. The questions unfurled like petals beneath the waning light. In a world rife with turmoil, could the very act of breaking open lead them to a new level of connection? Would their willingness to confront discomfort allow them to emerge as something greater, or would they fall apart under the weight of their revelations, unbound and lost? In that quiet moment of contemplation, an unresolved truth hung delicately: what deeper connections could be forged through their journey of becoming, and what mysteries yet lay hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be revealed. As dawn kissed the horizon, a soft glow wrapped itself around those gathered, weaving a tapestry of warmth and hope against the backdrop of uncertainty. The air was thick with the fragrance of possibility. Jesus stood among them, embodying the promise of a new beginning, inviting them into deeper reflection that he knew the time had come for revelation, the kind that would transcend mere words and speak to the depths of their beings. As the light of day unfolds, he began, his voice steady and calming, so too shall the truth of your journeys illuminate the shadows that once concealed your strength. Each of you is more than you believe, for embedded within your stories lies the potential for transformation. Martha, emboldened by the early sun's rays breaking through, raised her voice. Lord, amidst our struggles with doubt and fear, how do we leverage that potential? How do we ensure our endeavors lead us toward healing rather than division? Jesus responded, choosing his words with reverence. In your journey, expect encounters that will challenge the very fabric of your understanding. Know this, transformation is a process, not a destination. When voices clash and perspectives diverge, remember that such discord is often the precursor to deeper understanding. Be gentle with each other, the threads of compassion must guide your interactions. Just then, Peter, a fervent yet anxious heart, spoke out. But what if we falter in our quest? What if our burdens become too great to carry? How do we support one another without the risk of being overwhelmed ourselves? Jesus locked eyes with Peter, his gaze filled with understanding. In shared struggle there is unyielding strength. When one falters, another can lift. Consider the body. Though it comprises many parts, each has its role, and each part suffers together or rejoices together. Do not fear the weight of your burdens, in sharing them lies the path to resilience. Mary, feeling a stirring in her heart, felt compelled to share. Then, in revealing our truths, is it possible that what we unearth might bind us closer? Would our collective wounds become the foundation for a deeper bond? Yes, dear Mary, Jesus affirmed with a glow of assurance. Your scars tell the stories of your journeys, each a testament to survival. In embracing your fragments, you honor your humanity and create a sacred space for others to do the same. Do not shun your past, rather, see it as a map leading you to the vibrant landscape of your future. Thomas, still wrestling with his skepticism, stood firm. But what if our vulnerability makes us targets? What if, in our honesty, we expose ourselves to injury rather than healing? Jesus smiled gently, a knowing light filling his eyes. Vulnerability is courage's twin. Yes, it may invite scrutiny, but it also paves the way for authenticity. True connection flourishes in the soil of trust. To seek understanding is to embrace both the beauty and the pain of existence. As these conversations unfolded, Judas found his voice amidst the gathering, his doubts simmering beneath the surface. And if we choose to stand united and uncover our truths, how will we guard against misunderstanding? How will we ensure that our unity does not become a facade hiding deeper divisions? Jesus approached Judas, his presence radiating calm. Trust, dear friend, must guide your journey. In moments of discord, don't abandon one another, lean in closer. Be in dialogue with your differences. In the act of listening, you'll discover ways to weave your individual truths into a harmonious collective. It is through those fractures that the light will seep in. As they all absorbed this wisdom, John pondered aloud, so, if we can find strength in vulnerability and beauty in our combined stories, what new truths might emerge? Can this process manifest something greater than ourselves? Jesus, sensing a shift in the atmosphere, nodded. Yes, my young friend. Within this gathering lies the seed of a profound understanding that may very well shape your destinies. Let your collective experience be a beacon, illuminating the path forward. As if responding to his words, a soft breeze rustled through the trees, the gentle sound echoing the sentiments shared among them. Suddenly, a realization dawned upon Simon, as his heart swelled with possibility. Could it be that in embracing both our light and our darkness, we discover the fullness of love? Could love be the unifying force we seek? Indeed, Simon, Jesus replied, a smile illuminating his face. Love is the anchor amidst life's tempest. When you stand shoulder to shoulder in this shared endeavor, the roots of love and acceptance may weave through your lives, forming a network that binds you in ways you haven't yet envisioned. At that moment, the collective heartbeat of the group quickened, filled with the dawning awareness that they were on the brink of something monumental. One by one, they began to articulate their own commitment to this new awakening. Through sharing our stories, Martha declared, we can give each other the courage to face whatever lies ahead. To be vulnerable is to be brave, echoed Mary, her voice trembling with renewed assurance. As we embrace our fears, said Peter with determination, we create the space for love to flourish among us. And as they spoke, each participant lifted their gaze towards Jesus, their hearts resonating with a shared flame of belief and possibility. A conviction coursed through the thrumming pulse of their community, a powerful testament that they were, indeed, stronger together. The sun climbed higher in the sky, casting brilliant light across the landscape, revealing an expanse filled with potential. Jesus looked upon them, a quiet fire of hope igniting in his heart. In committing to one another through this journey of growth, you embolden not just your own spirits, but the hearts of all who will come after you. Your stories are the sacred foundations upon which the future will stand. Illuminate your paths with every act of love. And so it was, in that sacred moment, they realized that the name Yeshua, meaning God saves, was not merely a doctrine to be recited, but a dynamic force urging them to embrace their identities, both fractured and beautiful. It bound them together, challenging them to trust, to heal, and to love in transformative ways. As the day unfolded a glorious promise of renewal and connection, the gathering stood hand in hand, hearts intertwined, ready to face an uncharted future. Their stories would become a legacy, spreading beyond the hills of Nazareth, echoing through the ages. They had transcended doubt into hope, revealing the powerful truth that through love, each name would carry not just identity but an invitation for healing, a spark that could light the world. In that tender embrace of unity, Jesus smiled knowingly, for he had witnessed transformation blossom amid their struggles. Go forth, my friends, and let your love be the thread that binds not just your hearts, but the hearts of many. Shine your light for the world to see. And as they took their first steps together into the dawn of a new day, a profound revelation echoed in their spirits, uniting them not just in name, but in purpose. Together, in the act of faith, they would illuminate the darkest corners of existence, forever changed by the sacred dance of vulnerability, love, and community.